Hello, today I had a chance to attend the CARE community briefing. The topic was Annual Hate Crimes Report, and it happened on Wednesday, July the 30th. And it was a really great briefing through the Attorney General's Rob Bonta's State of California Department of Justice. And if you want to see the actual PowerPoints and slides that these are copies of, here's the link here that can take you there. And as I was watching this presentation, in the back of my mind, from an educator lens, from a board member lens, I'm asking myself, what are the kinds of ways that youth, schools, and communities can work to intentionally build peace as a way to counter hate with compassion and wisdom? So, in other words, how do we actively build peace? Because sometimes we talk about stopping hate, and we do want to stop hate. And how do we actively stop hate through also building peace? And so I thought it was a really great presentation. The agenda flowed in this kind of format, like a welcome, led to a 2024 hate crimes report, which I thought was helpful to look at some of the stats around what's happening. Then the role of the California Department of Justice, some conversation with hate crime coordinator Britton Lacey, and then some California versus hate resources. So first are statistics, and once again, statistics matter because when we saw that surge in anti-Asian racism, when I found out from OC Human Relations that there was a 1,800% increase in hate crimes, hate incidents toward Asian Americans, that really got my attention. Wow, that's a huge jump, right? So they talked a little bit about hate crime reporting and statistics. So if you saw the presentation, they just described a little bit about what is a hate crime, what is hate crime reporting, what is law enforcement's responsibility, what is the DOJ's responsibility, and so forth. Once again, a hate crime is not the same thing as a hate incident. Acts of discrimination, hate incidents, hate speech, that's not necessarily a hate crime. And a hate crime includes the crime, a breaking of the law, as well as a bias that's involved. So that was interesting to see that distinction. And once again, that crime needs to be reported to the police in order to be called a hate crime, because someone has to verify, yes, it was a breaking of the law. And then they have a special person to see if that bias was also a part of that as well. So I could see actually when you look at stats an underreporting, because I could see how some groups may not want to call the police to report it, even though we're partners in this work to build peace. So we look at the stats, but in my mind, I'm thinking it's probably very underreported, actually. So the specific data point I'm going to look at right now is religious bias events. There are others, by the way, but I'm just focusing on this. And I thought what was interesting was anti-Jewish bias rose 289 in 2023 to 310 in 2024. So you can see this is an increase of 7.3% in anti-Jewish bias. And you can also see a anti-Islamic Muslim bias, which is there, but it fell from 2023 to 24. Significant drop off in anti-Islamic, anti-Muslim bias. And of course, they actually provide some more stats in their presentation, but I was just taking a look at that because if you've been following my channel, then you know that I had been interested in being a part of the Holy Land Democracy Project, so my eye is on this a little bit more. And as we look at this anti-Jewish number, so this is 2024, right? And you can see, wow, 310, 289, 189, 152. So consistently there's been significant bias toward Jewish people, Jewish Americans here in the United States, here in California. So going down here, they also talked a little bit about some things that can help to prevent that hate. For example, California versus hate. So as these hate incidents has risen in some areas, what can be done? And so I was appreciative to also have some contact information to reach out to. And then I had asked that question from the very beginning, if you remember, what are the kinds of ways youth, schools, and communities can work to intentionally build peace as a way to counter hate with compassion and wisdom? So since I was invited to this workshop, I actually posted this question, and they responded, and they shared like a couple of ideas, including And once again, I have not vetted these events or programs. These are just things that I heard there, and I'm going to look into a little bit more. United Against Hate Week. So there's a week where groups of people can be united against hate, October 19th to 25th. Californians versus hate. So there's like an organization connected with that. And Stop Hate Grants program. So those might be some things that I take a look at a little bit more. But I know from my end, I know that one way to reduce hate and build peace with love and wisdom has been a lot of the work that has come through civic engagement campaigns, as well as work through Korean American Studies, where we uplift voices, the voices of one another, as we know each other's stories and listen to each other's stories with empathy and respect, and tell each other stories and do something good with our stories. I find that oftentimes also builds peace and creates a sense of belonging. So I think that is also a way to intentionally build peace as a way to counter hate with love and wisdom. And then beyond just the benefits of civic campaigns and reducing hate and, I hope, growing compassion and wisdom, there are other benefits as well. Like when we think about the mental health of our youth, and when groups are working toward benefiting another and refreshing others, sometimes they themselves are also refreshed as well. And it improves their mental health through serving others or helping others. And so these are ways to, in addition to the civic campaigns and stopping the hate, which we all want, it's a way to also, there's also many other numerous benefits from participating in something like this. And I think it connects to the blessing of being a part of the United States. So I'm just reminded of our Constitution that says, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. And as we think about this, this idea that we're not there yet, and we weren't there when we began, but we're continually improving ourselves. And we're all participating in this together, old and young alike, to make this a better place.